and how to face your mortality without fear. Kind of maybe like that woman who was in the hospital. Her expertise focuses on music, sound, healing, soul guidance, and ceremony. Her wisdom is hard won, having been diagnosed with an autoimmune diagnosis in her youth, and more recently with stage 4 cancer. In both cases, she has been able to find healing in unusual places to beat the odds. Please give a round of applause and welcome Mary Azima with her speech, "We are greater than our diagnosis." Mary, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank, thank you, Armando, and thank you, Emily, for inviting me. This is a treat. This is a brand new experience for me, a Toastmasters experience. And Ezra, I got a comment first on the word improvement. When I was younger, I was so impressed. I learned the word amelioration, which means improvement. So it's another word for improvement.
Oh,
Anyway, that's kind of half of what part of what I'm going to talk about, improvement, a growing understanding. But so the topic is we're greater than any diagnosis. And the reason I began kind of perceiving life this way started when I did have something called, it was called regional enteritis back then, which was over 50 years ago, if you believe that. And it was something they didn't really understand. Regional enteritis. There's, I think there's a retired doctor here I've heard, and it was. Aha, he's smiling. That must be you, Kip. Anyway, no. So anyway, it was an unknown disease way back then, and they really didn't know how to deal with it, or me, therefore. So far as I remember, there was a lot of pain with the disease itself. Abscesses were caused. A lot of testing, a great deal of testing. Operations, and I nearly died at least 2 or 3 times. Doctors at the time said that it was chronic, it would be with me forever, and it could kill you. Now I think doctors still are saying, and I could be corrected on that, that it is still chronic, but I think you can live nowadays. I'm not sure about that. But just to sort of get an idea, it lasted 30 years of my life. Off and on for 2 to 3 years, I would get these sharp pains. It can occur anywhere in your digestive system. It was in my lower abdomen, and it's called now Crohn's disease. They found a name for it when the doctor named Dr. Crohn defined it. All to say, I think after so many years, I realized, oh, I may have some responsibility to learn more about my life, about what we're made of, who we are, what's this all about. And primarily, I wanted to get out of the pain. I wanted to find a way to get, and the hospitals, the doctors didn't seem to be able to take the pain away from me the way I really needed. So, what I did for my research was I went to Fordham University to get a master's in biological sciences. And when I realized that science really didn't know all the answers, which is what I had hoped probably, I thought, well, I think I'll go the spiritual route. We'll see if God, which we have mentioned here, Dale, and maybe God can answer this question for what is God? Who is God? And so I went to Yale Divinity School, and I got my master's in Yale Divinity School in divinity. And beyond those things, I went on to get a doctorate with the Matthew Fox course of study in divinity. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a Chopra Vedic master. I've done all this stuff to try to understand why I had to hurt so much. What am I made of? How do I learn how to improve myself? Whatever I need to do to get out of this. What came of Crohn's disease, I believe the biggest gift for me, somewhere in the middle of everything, I had an abscess. I was in bed. I couldn't really get out of bed I couldn't. And I refused to go to the hospital because I was scared of more pain there. And I had asked my husband at the time to bring all the spiritual books I had to me, put them on the bed. all of a sudden, out of no place, when I'm just kind of lying there, I hear this melody coming into my head. And "Ah," and it took away some of the pain. It didn't erase it, but it lessened the pain in that part of my body. So I kept making that sound. I heard it, I kept saying it. Ah. And then words started coming. And actually, so these, I'm just going to give you the beginning words, but I didn't expect them. It was angels surround me. Angels surround me. I really hadn't thought about angels per se. I had studied about them. You know, they're part of really most of the world's religions, if not all of them. But I'd never thought that this is a real, perhaps, energy. All I know is I felt held by love because I was hearing that angels surround me, they fill me, they love me, they are there holding me. And it was amazing to me. I, I literally kept singing what I was hearing. The words, the sound, the music, the melody, I kept singing it. It was like a little chant, a little song. And after, I'm not kidding, 24 hours, I literally was able to get out of bed. The pain was gone. And I even re-upped for a group that I was going to sing with, a singing group that I was singing the bass in. And I had canceled that, but I was feeling well enough that I ended up literally traveling out to Colorado from New York to join this group. I was tired, but I was still able to be with them and do what I needed to do and enjoy it. Now, that was the beginning of melodies and words, and I believe messages that continued not all the time, but to come to me almost at key times when I really needed support. I needed to know that I wasn't alone. And it's a strange thing. I didn't see things. I didn't hear things. Well, I did. I heard this melody and I heard the words. And when I look back at the songs, and actually, this little book this year I put together with all the songs that I felt were particularly helpful to me in terms of just messages guiding me. It's called Journey of Song for Life's Transitions. And what's interesting is when I put those songs on now for comfort and to help me, they mean more each time I live my life a little fuller because I'm living into the songs in a way. I didn't understand all the meanings then, but the vibration was something I was singing. So that was the beginning of thinking, oh my gosh, vibration. And I didn't add with my list of what I'd done. One of the things that I really got involved with because of this was sound healing. But it's something I still didn't understand. And it's a new science, I think, even today. Fast forward or slow forward, I'm going to October 2019, which is now really a year and 3/4. I'm giving you almost exactly that because October 2019, a little over a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed. By the way, Crohn's disease left me eventually after 30 years, I would like to say. But October 2019, I was diagnosed with something called fourth stage metastatic cancer. And I was given a prognosis at that time that I only had 6 months to live, and that I needed to get my act together. I needed to get the paperwork and everything I needed to prepare. So without going into other things, I have to say, once again, I began to self-improvement. I'm using those thoughts, but it's like I began to think, wow, what can I learn? What am I still alive for? There's a purpose here for me to be here. What is that? What am I still here for? And so I'm going to share with you my perceptions of my journey and what learning is that I feel I've come up with. I do believe that what we call Western medicine, allopathic, our traditional medicine, is very valuable in many ways. Um, I also, bottom line now, am feeling that we are guided by what I would call our soul's blueprint. And our soul's blueprint, um, well, I'll talk more about that, but I think part of this is that symptoms that we get, part of my understanding, symptoms that come to us, often instead of treating them with traditional medicine, which is, I have a headache, I have a terrible migraine, doctor, give me a pill, fix it right now, take the pain away. And what I was looking for was Crohn's, take the pain away, quick, I can't deal with it. Because I guess I had that opportunity to stay with the pain for so long, I'm beginning to get the fact that these symptoms are messages. They're telling us that there are blockages, or there are spaces in the alignment of our body, mind, emotions, soul, that need to be aligned, malignant, mal-aligned. I'm a poster child of malignant right now. So I'm going to define a few things now, but and I'll come back to the message comment, but I think I need to define what I have learned, or my perception of what we're made of. We all have bodies, and these bodies are the way we communicate with the world. We also communicate with ourselves with these bodies. We have five senses, and that's how we communicate. And I don't need to tell you what the five senses are, we know that. But that's our communication system through our bodies, to self, to others. We also have emotions, and the emotions are basically the governing force for our activities, for our responses, for our reactions. Our emotions will often direct what's going to happen next, unconsciously or consciously. And then we have, we have body, emotions. Oh, yes, the head. Head, like the mind. I mean, the mind is a bigger thing, but let's say our heads have thoughts. My thoughts are constantly going around and around and around. And I would invite you to sort of sit with one moment in time and see if you can track the thought or thoughts in your head, and do they correlate to any other aspect of your body at that time, or, in time. Interesting, just a thought. So we have body, we have emotions, we have head, and then I'm going to say soul. Now, my definition of soul at this point in time is literally vibration, energy. It permeates us, it surrounds us, and it keeps us ticking. I see this energy, this vibration, frequency of which we are made and which this whole world is made, and all in it, I see as basically the source of life. And if I were to, I wish I could write the diagram, but someone the other day, or a couple of people, I've taken this in because it makes sense to me from a few sources. But if you imagine that this universe that we're living in is filled with vibration, an aqueous light, white light, vibratory, that comes down from wherever, comes down, becomes more condensed, and that condensed light energy becomes each of us, becomes the trees, becomes the animals, whatever little animal, whatever, becomes everything that is. And quantum physics would now call that consciousness. So or the unity field, or as Dale said, we could call that God. It depends on, I used to think of God as this guy with a staff up on a cloud, sort of like Dale was describing in the joke. So this is not, I'm talking about an energy that literally is existent and is there all the time. So I'm gonna, where was I? I want to then talk about, I think we're in a paradigm shift. I think right now we're going from, very slowly, Newtonian science, which often has tended to see us as cars with body parts, with car parts. Fix it, replace it. Seuss, I mean nothing against you and your new hip, because this is the good news about traditional medicine and allopathic Western medicine. It really is amazingly capable of that. It's also good at diagnoses. However, I think I was so traumatized with my Crohn's disease experience that I decided not to have any medical intervention this go round with fourth stage metastatic cancer. I did allow for a CAT scan with contrast in the very beginning, so I could be diagnosed. What is it? Because I think Western medicine is very good at diagnosis. Also, I was diagnosed with fourth stage metastatic cancer, but that's kind of where I stopped, and I continued my research. What is it I'm here for? What do I need to learn? What do I need to be? So my understanding is that I'm going to have to look at my notes now, because I'm kind of, well, first I want to say there's a wonderful movie about quantum physics called Quantum Activist, and the fellow in it, Amit Goswami, through quantum physics, literally shows us, explains to us the unity of world's religions and spiritual traditions, mystical traditions. And he bridges the gap between science and what we might call God. And that's profound to me. So I believe my healing meaning wholeness, my healing is occurring due to what I would call divine intervention. My definition of divine intervention is vibrations and energies beyond my understanding, but that are a gift from my soul, and that what Goswami would refer to as consciousness. I've come to realize that disease symptoms, as I've said, they're showing us the dark places, the spaces between our like energy systems that need to be aligned once again. We have been, each of us, all of us, probably, most likely, been traumatized or hurt in some way back when in childhood, or even pre-birth. And that, whatever happened, or in raising us, whatever we got influenced by, because we were like sponges way back then, that patterning came into our cellular system and created those dark places, those misalignments. And it's like, so there needs to be an acknowledgement of that. At the same time, one acknowledges that there needs to be, in acknowledgement, sort of a way of raising one's vibration, a way of bringing light into the dark places. The way I've done this, and I'm learning more daily, so, this is my journey. The way I'm doing it is something called GPS, which was founded by a very good friend of mine, and it means God Source Positioning System, or guidance positioning system. But you think of the GPS of your car, it tells you where you're going. Well, this and it helps align you with the right path to get there. And if that path doesn't work, you reorient and you take another path. This is that same idea with our bodies, our minds, our souls, and our emotions. It helps us to align who we are so that we are open to that funnel of what I'm calling soul or consciousness, which can come through us, flow through us with the gifts that we all have. Each of us have been endowed with gifts that are, if allowed to flow, can flow through us and provide us with a life force that is so key for us. So this GPS system is a core aspect of something called, if you believe this, Awakening Awareness Academy, which my friend has founded with her husband who died 20-some years ago and still is in communication with her. So this academy is unusual. It's an not denominational, but it's interdimensional, this academy. So it's that much more knowledgeable, you might say, or helpful in helping one align oneself to all of who you are, in all aspects, all dimensions of one's being. I'm working with that. I am also, by the way, it brings in the tenets of the major world religions, all these tenets, and some of them being, of course, surrender, forgiveness, acceptance of all that is, knowing that, you did the best you can, you're still doing the best you can. But we're human, and we're all learning, we're all improving. I'm using this word a lot. So that's one key to me. And another key has been music, vibration being the base of music. It's when I got strong enough, which is, I don't know how many months ago, but it was a short period of time, about 4 months after I was diagnosed, or 5 or 6, I don't know. I was strong enough to sing again. So I started hearing, not that I did this intentionally, but once again, melodies, words, messages started coming to me again. And I started taking them in. And I actually found a singing teacher online in California, where most of you are from. And so I now communicate with her, Zoom-wise. And it's amazing. And she said to me after the first song, she said, "You've got to sing that every day for the next 2 weeks. Every day, at least 12 times a day." And what she was telling me, what I was getting out of that is each song, for me, each message is so important. If I feel it, then it's like I need to embody it. So once again, it's the embodiment of all of who we are, as much as we're capable. So anyway, I'm going to share that song with you now. I realized, I don't know what I've realized. I've been told by friends that it doesn't sound so great on the piano. It doesn't sound so great on the keyboard. So I'm going to do the best I can to sing it a cappella. But the meaning, there are about 4 songs that I've written in the last half a year. And one is on surrender, one is on forgiveness. So they're all stages that one needs to sort of let go of anyway, and that was the key to this song. I call it home because I felt so held by love, whether I was living or whether I wasn't living. To be held by this love was all that mattered. And to me, that's really what we're here for. I think that's our final lesson in life, is to embody love for ourselves and then for one another. To know that we are loved and embody that. And my good friend who started this GPS and this Awakening Awareness Academy, she had a near-death experience. And she said to me after that, she said, sometime after that, she said, she learned, or she heard, that love is not an emotion. It's not like, "Oh, I love you, honey, you're just," it's not an emotion. It's a frequency. Love is a frequency. So I would like to share this song with you and hopefully the frequency, but I have no idea what's going to come across either song wise or so. Here we go. Home. Oh. Home, at home in my heart. Before I go on, and that's kind of shoddy as a beginning, but I'd like to invite you to go into your hearts, into your own hearts. And what does home, at home in your heart, mean to you? I mean, if you're in a safe place and can close your eyes, I would invite you to do that too. But to go into your hearts and just sit with that, at home in my heart, with your own hearts. Okay, so we go. I have to find it. Home, at home in my heart. I am home at last and held in the heart of love. Love that has no boundaries, soft as the dove, melting all the pain, sadness and fear in the warm embrace of love. Hold me close in your arms, cradle my heart's longing, that we all might be safe in each other's hearts, offering love, hands that care, reaching out in this world that we share. Come home, come home. So think about it. If, as quantum physics states, we are all one, we are all consciousness, then we're all made of the same stuff. We are all just individual characteristics of the same thing, but unique. So my journey is mine, but it as I am is so much bigger than I am. And I'm doing all I can to stay in touch with my mind, my emotions, my body, my soul, so I won't need that traditional pill that might mask the symptoms from which I am learning so much. But instead, I'm inviting my body to self-regulate. That's my talk.
Big round of applause, everybody, for Mary Azima and that very enlightening talk she shared with us. Very special.